All right, you ready?
Yes.
3, 2.
First time caller, long time listener. Thanks for all the cake. You're listening to Cake, Chris and Ketty Experience.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to C.A.K.E, the Chris and Ketty Experience. We have not been gone for a long time. Y'all been gone for a long time.
We have, in fact, not been so long that I totally remembered how this song goes and didn't fuck up my dance.
Yeah, no. It's
You
fine.
did not see that.
Didn't happen.
So,
Where we been at? What's up with the hiatus?
well, if you guys have watched the last episode, then you know that we had something in the oven, and now it's out.
We have had a whole entire child. It's been a month and a half.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've been just cruising, cooking, staying at home, doing baby stuff.
7 weeks today, actually.
Oh, it is 7 weeks today, yeah. Mm-hmm. It has been fun, but it has been tiring in a way that I know everyone says, and I know it's the same old cliche, but it's for real though. Like, there is a certain amount of sleepy sleeps that you just don't get, so.
Yes.
We got a structure for this joint, and we just kind of rambling. What are we doing, baby girl?
Well, this is just, coming back, and we're excited to resume.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I know we say that every time, but hopefully this time around it's true. We will try to be more consistent with this. Obviously, gross.
I'm sorry, I'm dying.
This long ass hiatus has a very valid reason. So I hope you guys understand. And moving forward, we'll try to get there.
Well, a little bit of inside baseball. We got the chance actually because my mom is so excited to be a grandma. She's going to be here once a week to watch the baby. And so when she does that, we'll just do this.
Yes.
Ta-da, problem solved. That gives us a chance at least maybe once every other week or once a week to get ahead. Maybe we'll just make some podcasts. We'll make some podcasts for you guys because I do think we got some interesting stuff to talk about.
Yeah. And furthermore, I would also like to make some standalone videos. I don't know, Chris, if you want to, but those will be coming in between.
Well, hold on.
Eventually. Well, there's one that came out. Actually, if you guys have not seen it, please check it out. It is all me, but it definitely has a vibe of a hostage video because I filmed it in the middle of the night while watching the baby and just really trying to. I actually was, yeah, a very tiny. What is she in his situation? What's the word?
Hostagee.
Hostager.
That's not it. Terrorist, I think, is what. But she's not a terrorist.
Kidnapper.
We'll call her kidnappist. That way it sounds like a profession. I do make my own videos already. If you want to see them, they're over at Nucents 88, NEWCENTS 88, over on my own channel. It's all about photography. I know you've seen it before. Sorry, the cat's hunting something, and when he does this, there's usually a mouse, but I don't see one, and I don't see what he's looking at, so maybe...
My feet are out, so I'm scared.
No, don't worry. Maybe it's one of those big old house centipedes that look like shrimp and to run over the top of your toes. Your feet kind of hairy on the top anyway. You won't even feel it.
You have hobbit feet.
I've got feet. Anyway, so I do make my own videos. They're over there. I've been on a hiatus as well, but I will be coming back. I'm trying to figure out a structure so that I can make more. The next one I make is a little more involved, and it is pretty special. So I hope you guys are excited to see that. Mm-hmm. That's there.
All right, so let's start by actually telling the story of how it all went down, and then we can talk about how our life has changed forever and all that stuff.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, since I'm the most important player in this story, let me really set the mood. Set you the scene. No, I'm just kidding. It's obviously Ketty.
I mean, you want to set the scene and how it went down for you? First of all, it happened on a day that, we were all expecting it to happen. It was day 3 after my due date.
Yeah.
And, I was at home. We were both together at home and just, waiting for it to happen. But he had some errands that day.
Yeah.
And we were all just like, don't let it happen while he's away. Don't let it happen while he's away.
There was a pretty big film photography event here in Indianapolis, and a bunch of people that work and do stuff in the film community, and a bunch of film businesses were all there, and they were giving away gifts, and there are people there that I wanted to talk to and pictures I wanted to take. And I was like, man, I'm going to miss that. And I kind of wrote it off. I was like, I'm not going to get to do that. That's fine. But then it was the time, and it was like, well, it does look like you're going to be able to do that. So I was like, all right, Ketty, you cool? And she was like, I'm good. Everything was fine. We were still waiting. We knew we were going to get induced on Sunday at the latest. And this was a Thursday. So I was like, all right, that's fine. I'm going to dip out. And I was gone probably for about 5 hours.
Yeah.
From like 6 to about 11. Or no, from like 5 to like 10. And I got home. And then right around 11 o'clock, water break time.
So my water broke after I gave up on my water breaking. I spent my whole day wearing a pad and waiting for, the flood. None of that happened until I got mad and I threw my clothes on the couch and I was very dramatic about it.
She was dramatically getting undressed because that's how Marketa rolls.
I was frustrated. And then as soon as I sat on our white couch, sploosh.
And I was like, oh man. It didn't seem like it was that much. It wasn't like the movies.
No. It doesn't happen like that in like it happens in the movies. It's a fiction.
Yeah, well, the movies are nice and dramatic. This wasn't that. But we were like, oh, I think this is it. Let's go to the hospital. We had our bags and everything ready, so we just hopped in the car and dipped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
that was on a Thursday.
Chris said it was at night. It was 10 p.m. And by the time we got to the hospital, it was 11. And they admitted us. We got a room. And they took a sample of my amniotic fluid just to confirm that's what it is, and it was
baby juices.
And so we were just like, well, so we're staying in this room then. That's it. This is our room. And they hooked me up on the monitors, and Chris went to bed to sleep.
Yep, they had this room came with a bed that pulled out. I obviously didn't. It pulled out from the wall and it laid flat, and so it was a Murphy bed. So I just slept on that, and I was like, Marketa, I really couldn't do much. I was up for a while. I didn't just go in there and immediately pass over. Oh, see you later. I was like, are you fine? She was like, yeah, I'm not feeling anything. I was like, all right, well then I'm gonna use this opportunity to get some sleep because it's obvious that we're both gonna be super tired here soon. So
I thought that for a while, for the beginning, because I didn't really feel a lot of pain. I did feel very mild cramping, and usually I've always had problem with this. My periods are extremely painful every time. And so I figured, hey, maybe I'm used to this pain. Maybe it won't hurt me because I'm just such a boss.
I'm just built different. Crazy thought.
I'm built different.
Most people tend to say that pregnancy is rough, and you're just like, maybe I'm gonna just walk this off.
Then the actual cramps, then the actual contractions started happening. Okay, and it was nothing like my period. It was bad.
Seemed pretty rough.
It was bad. It was getting progressively worse with every contraction. To the point where they came to check on me. They were asking me if I wanted the epidural, because if I didn't want it, then they had 2 C-sections scheduled back to back, and they wouldn't be able to get to me in another hour or two.
We should point out that this was 2 p.m. the next day.
The next day.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was.
So throughout the night, though, you were in labor, but were you struggling though? Because I feel like you were really just kind of.
I was trying to stay positive and have good vibes. So I was listening to my playlist that I prepared, and I was just kind of dancing in a corner while Chris was asleep, and I was really just trying to get moving, and get her down.
Had your little ball you're bouncing on. You're trying to get her to drop into the birth canal.
Yep, I had my ball. I was doing all the things that I learned in prenatal yoga, and it was just not happening. Baby was not coming out naturally, and then when it started hurting really bad, literally at 2 was it 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Noon. Next day, my labor overall took 17 hours. So at 2 o'clock next day, I got the epidural.
Yeah, which as a husband, they make you sign this paperwork that says you won't pass out. Or no, it says if you do pass out that no one's going to take care of you. Are you okay with that? And I was like, oh, that seems a lot. But when homie came out with the epidural needle, I was like, no, I could see that. I'm just going to ignore whatever's happening back there because it was big. Dude had a lot of jokes, but I was like, man, I can't even look at that thing. It's crazy.
The hardest part for me during the epidural installation was not looking at it, but staying still, because as they were shoving it up my spine, I was experiencing a contraction, and I really had to stay still during it and stay in like a fetal position ball, which was not ideal for what I was experiencing. And that was a lot. And I also wanted to actually say before we even started this story that my birth was quite traumatic. And anybody listening who might be pregnant or is thinking about becoming pregnant in the near future should maybe fast forward to the next section of this podcast, because what happened to me only happens to 1% of birthing people.
See, that means that's pretty rare.
So the likelihood of it happening to you is very small, but regardless, you should not have this story in your head as you give birth.
Yeah, you only want good vibes.
Yeah.
And while this story does have a happy ending, there will be vibes
I'm here
towards the middle of it that ain't good. You're here and the baby's here. It all worked out.
Yeah. But we are getting to the bad vibes here shortly. So
I feel like the bad vibes was after the birth.
Well, where was your mind here at this point? Because, I got the epidural. I was chilling because I couldn't feel anything, but I was also freaking out because I didn't feel anything at all after feeling a lot, and I was getting a little anxious about that.
I've done drugs before, and when the drugs are kicking in, if you got somebody there with you, don't do drugs. If you're listening to this, if you're a grown ass adult, choose to do drugs, whatever. Anyway, when
you're
you do
giving
drugs,
birth and you want to do drugs, do them all.
When it's hitting, you want to talk to people, and like Marketa was like, "Oh my god, I can feel my, oh my god." I was like, "It's probably a weird sensation." I was like, "But that's how the drugs are supposed to work. Like, you're fine." When you're on a come up, sometimes you need a little bit of a shaman there, and I don't know what the fuck I was talking about, but I was just doing my best to be like, "Oh, you'd probably be all right," and it helped.
I didn't have a doula, but I had a birth shaman.
Yeah, a doodler.
A doodler.
Yeah. Not a doula, but I kind of know what I'm doing now. So if you need
10 out of 10,
to
honestly,
stand with you while you're giving birth and give you positive reinforcement while not throwing up, that'll be $10,000.
I will say that ever since you didn't pass out during the epidural admin, I was impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Chris has a thing where he passes out during blood draws.
Yeah, only when I get my own blood drawn. But, now that you know it's possible, your brain might make some certain connections and put you down. You don't want that. So you got to fight hard against it by being ever present in the moment, but not focusing on the wrong things. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. So anyway, I didn't pass out. You got the epidural. Couldn't feel your legs.
Yeah. I couldn't feel anything. And so here I'm just laying in the bed, waiting for the next thing to happen, but I was starting to feel confident because I didn't feel anything. So, I thought that I'll just breathe through this. I'll get this baby out. It's not...
That was almost the case.
It honestly is not going to hurt because the epidural really, 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 really numbs everything. But unfortunately, that didn't happen because, you have the monitor on the side that keeps beeping at the regular rate because it monitors your heartbeat and the baby's heartbeat. But suddenly, one of those monitors stopped beeping as often as it was.
It went from 140 BPM to 19.
It rapidly decreased significantly. So, and that was scary. Multiple all the nurses came in and the doctor. They tried to move me around because not only do you feel anything, but you also can't move.
Yeah.
You're just done.
Well,
from waist down, you just don't feel anything, and you can't move your legs.
A proper piece of levity before you get into the scary part. While Marketa was on all fours, butt naked, pushing and trying to get the baby down, the only male doctor who'd been working was the anesthesiologist, and he walked in.
A very handsome doctor,
and it was right down the barrel. He was like, "Oh, whoa, okay, I'll be back." So. He's a very handsome doctor. He's probably used to seeing strangers' buttholes. I'm sorry. But he did. It's kind of hilarious. You're already very red, but I can see you blushing. You're kind of blushing now.
Okay. So anyway, I was in I was in I
Child's
don't know,
pose.
Child's pose.
Because you're trying to birth a child.
Yeah, I was in a child's pose. Well, the doctor came in through the door to just get a full view of my kitchen. And
Is that what we're calling it now? The kitchen?
it was so embarrassing. But the reason why I was in that position is because of the baby's, heartbeat dropping. So I really couldn't think less or care less about that
I
happening.
mean, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. But it was they tried to like turn me around because they thought that maybe the baby's being obstructed by some joints or maybe the umbilical
cord. They thought she was
cord.
pulling on her own cord is what they were kind of guessing.
Yeah.
And it's funny enough because with all the technology we have, there was actually there wasn't simple. There was something that was happening, but they still couldn't see it. And for me, I was like, damn, that's crazy that we've got so much technology, but they're still like in the process things that they don't know. I mean, they got ways to work around this, is why they don't know it. So what they couldn't tell is which way the baby was facing, towards Marketa's stomach or towards her back. Mm-hmm. They're like, we know where the baby's at. We know where her head's at. We know where all of her other parts are. We know where she's at, but we have no idea which way she's facing. And it turns out that makes a big deal.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, she was facing up, so towards my stomach, and that was not good for her.
Because she couldn't get her head under the pelvic bone right. She was choking herself. Silly baby. Babies don't even know how to be born.
Silly girl. So that was the root cause for my complication. And the doctors, that happened once, and then it happened again. At that point, they recommended that I get a cesarean.
Emergency C-section. And to quote the doctor, we don't ever want to see that again. They did give Marketa choices, and I think that while we were in...
And I thought that was silly.
While we were in class, they gave you... A lot of the girls were talking about like how the doctors are and how they they were making it seem like the doctors forced choices onto you, but they really did ask, and they were like, this is the case, but also it's up to you. And I thought that... Honestly. I mean, I know that in the moment it's silly because you're going to pick what you're going to pick, but also like, that was kind of cool.
I mean, me personally, I cannot live with... I already have a lot of anxiety. So if I go to a school or a hospital, if I go to an institution, police station, I expect, and I know this is very naive of me, but this is how I need to work. This is what I need to believe in order for me to stay okay and stay sane. I expect that the people that work there for a reason.
Yeah.
And this is especially for hospitals. You spend...
Police stations, not so much.
How many 10 years getting your degree? I'm expecting that you know better than me what to do and how to save my life and my baby's life. And the prenatal yoga classes I used to go to, a lot of the upcoming moms were very
crunchy granola.
We want natural birth. Well, there's nothing wrong with the choices you want to make for yourself. I'm not judging that, but it was definitely a choice that if I would make it, I would probably not be here now. I feel like I was saved by modern medicine and progress we've made as a species.
And for anyone who's ready to hop down to the comments, we haven't really gotten to the bad part yet.
Yeah.
Just an FYI.
So anyway, So cesarean had to happen because the baby was just having a hard time coming out. And I tried to push, and I ended up peeing all over one of the nurses instead. Funny. And that was my last attempt. I was also 9.5 centimeters dilated. You have to be 10 centimeters dilated to give birth. But, they were like, just try it. Just fuck it. Just try it. Let's see if it happens. And it just didn't happen. And then the heartbeat started dropping again. And I was just like, take me to the emergency room right now. I don't care. I don't care what happens. Just get her out. Get her out. Get out.
Well, and then they did the old surgery for the C-section. Woo! Which was...
And I don't know if I mentioned this in the podcast, if you heard me say this, but throughout the whole pregnancy, I kept saying, I don't want a C-section. I hope I don't need to get a C-section. I do not want C-section.
Multiple times. And we're like, it'll be what it is. Maybe you won't. I didn't think she was. I mean, you literally got to 9.5 centimeters. You were like at the end of it all. There. But, shit happens. It happens. They did the C-section and I was there. I didn't look behind the curtain. I could hear them putting things on the table. I didn't need to see what was going on. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hang out.
Yeah. I felt very
Cold.
cold. It they like the epidural, I guess, was only an anesthetic for like labor, like actual labor. But for a cesarean, I guess I needed a different kind of anesthetic that would
the
go
morphine and all that stuff.
to the abdominal area, specifically where the incision would go. And so I needed to get additional anesthesia. And it was very, very cold, like flush of fluid, an IV fluid. And they administered it very fast because it needed to happen fast. So that made me very, very cold. And I think just from the cold and from the stress and just being so nervous and scared, I was just shaking uncontrollably the whole time. I honestly don't even know how they were able to, like, my scar, according to every doctor that looks at it, is beautiful.
I think it looks pretty nice. You get a tattoo around it.
And I don't know how they patched me up so well, because I was just
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're used to it.
shaking.
Maybe this is one of those things where they were talking about it while they were doing it. She's like, damn, that's good. I was like, all right, I want it.
They're also like, my body parts are on the table. My baby's screaming out there somewhere.
Hold on.
And they're talking about their like weekend plans, which I understand that they're used to it. They're just like they're having a work day.
When you say body
But I was
parts,
fighting for my life.
it sounds like an arm here and a leg there. It was just straight organs. It sounded like meat market in there, and I was like, that's gross. But
Yeah.
they were putting in. I mean, the fact that they were having casual conversation, to me, I was like, okay, well, nothing super worrisome's happening. They kind of got it all under control.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, and that's how the baby was born.
Yeah. Oh no, her last fuck you was she shit inside of your body.
Oh
So
yeah.
you got
As
that
they were taking her out, she
She pooped.
pooped right into my incision.
Not great.
Then I had to suck all that out. I lost 1 liter of blood in this process, which is pretty normal. And they patched me up, sent me back to the room, sent us with the baby. Chris
Yeah. Family was there.
was doing skin on skin because I was just incapable. I was still shaking very much. I was afraid. I was very weak and tired, and I was worried that I would drop the baby. So
No, you were just recovering. Weak makes it sound like you were being weak.
I felt weak. I didn't want to hold the baby because I felt like I would drop her from weakness.
I still like you calling my wife weak.
Okay. Well, that is how I felt
All right, fair enough.
at the time.
Yeah, so doing the skin to skin, and I had some family members that was there, and
But we
a couple
couldn't-
of the
we
normies
couldn't
were
see
there. And they were
them.
like, you got to wait for 2 hours
Yes.
before you could do anything.
Yep.
Marketa couldn't eat. There's a bunch of sushi, and I was like, it's fine. We'll wait for the 2 hours. Everything will be Gucci. And the nurses kept coming in and checking. I'm holding the baby, and this was all at like, I'd say about 11 o'clock. Right? No, right? Because
The baby
the
was
2
born
hours
at
was set.
4.
Yeah, sorry, the 2 hours ended at like
6.
6 or was it 6 or 7?
6:15.
6:15. So, but right around towards the end, that's when the bad stuff happens. So here's your last trigger warning for giving birth and possibly dying. But yeah, take it away, near death Ketty.
So the last check of the nurse came. She came in and just before she would let the family in with gifts and well wishes and congratulations, they were like, "Oh, I'm just gonna check this pad for you," and she was like, "Oh, hello, can I get a second set of eyes on this pad?" And I'm like, okay. Some other nurse came in and was like, "Ooh."
Well,
I'm like, well, fuck. What does that mean?
you were bleeding amounts that apparently warranted 3 sets of eyes.
Which then I eventually saw on the doctor that was trying to save my life. I literally was hallucinating that the doctor had like 6 eyes on their faces. So started bleeding a lot. Was experiencing a hemorrhage, which that is the part that we arrive now when mine was so severe. It can happen to people. You can have hemorrhage after vaginal or C-section birth, and usually it's like fairly marginal, and you just walk it off, and it's not a big deal. Mine was bad. including the C-section blood loss,
Yeah.
I overall lost 3 liters of blood. Human body carries 4.2 on
Yeah.
average. I probably carry less because I'm quite small. So yeah, that was almost all that I had that I lost.
She ended up for like hours there. They did a code red. I think like Mickey and Obed were there, and everybody was like, "Oh, code red. That's not great, but probably not for
Navi
them."
and Rana were there too,
Yeah.
and your mom.
Yeah. And so, code red, all the nurses and doctors are coming in. I'm just holding the baby and trying to stay out the way, and also giving Marketa very fun pep talks, which I'm great at. You need me in a clutch situation, I got you. Can you guys hear the baby crying? My mom's up there with her. And so, yeah, it was rough, and I was worried, but I was like, I think it'll be fine. Marketa's tough. And Marketa was, I don't know, apparently in the twilight zone, just doing her best to stay above water.
Yeah. Well, they kept telling me that I can like go to sleep, but I was sleeping. I was freaking out. I literally thought I was dying.
You kind of were.
I mean, yeah, technically I was dying. But I felt first of all, when they gave me they had to give me a transfusion while they were trying to stop the bleeding. You gonna check on the baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. Baby's crying. We have the parent trigger to go and check on her. Where were we? While I was, bleeding profusely, they gave me a transfusion, and the first transfusion started to make me feel like I was having an allergic reaction. I started to feel like it was getting harder for me to breathe, and my throat was getting swollen. And so I tried to communicate it to them, and thankfully they were receptive and they listened. But also my temperature spiked out of nowhere. So there was definitely some kind of a weird reaction going on with my body, not accepting that blood, which is weird because it was universal donor blood, and I'm also a universal donor, so there shouldn't have been a complication. But they even did an investigation afterwards to see if there was like some bacteria in the tubing, and there was not, so they just don't know why that happened. But yeah, that is when I was really going down, because that transfusion, they had to stop it. And then they just gave me plasma at least. And then they tried to get more blood, which eventually they did administer to me again. And this time I didn't have any bad reaction to it, and my body just accepted the new blood from the transfusion. And I started to finally, coming back to my own, because before that, like I mentioned, I saw the doctor having 6 eyes. I was just, they were telling me I can go to sleep, and I was just like, no. I saw a lot of things. At some point I looked down, and I saw how much I was bleeding. I saw one of them like carry one of the pads, and there was literally like she carried it like with both hands, trying not to like spill it. It's like it's a pad that like absorbs, and it wasn't even absorbing anymore, and it was a huge pad, and she was just like trying not to spill it, like crazy. Even like saying it now is still it's making me sick. But I didn't want to share the story because these are the things that women have to go through, and and now that we are in 2024 and post-election, I feel like stories like this are important to share, because anything could have happened that could have been characterized as abortion or something of the kind that might be considered not legal. And I don't want to get into that in this podcast, but one of the reasons why I wanted to share my story is precisely that. So yeah, birth was not fun, and I nearly died due to blood loss. And there are things that I still deal with to this day because of the hemorrhage.
I asked Marketa if she thought I was doing enough with the baby, and she said you're being adequate, which feels like a slight. Feels like you said I'm not doing enough. Adequate is not a goal that anybody aims for.
Really? I thought you were a C student.
So you think I'm doing C student work with this baby?
You said that you were a C student. You described yourself.
I did describe myself as a C student. It depends on what it is. In music,
so
A+
why are you
student.
offended by adequate?
Photography, A+ student. Videography, A+ student. Math, yeah, C. Because fuck math. All right, algebra 2. But the point is that adequate is rough, but all right. I'm just saying if I was adequate.
Maybe I was in some kind of mood when I said that.
Maybe, okay, so we can all agree that adequate was a bit of a slight. That's right. We know now. Fucking adequate. I'm going to get a t-shirt.
Well, you probably did something that deserved that.
Yeah, maybe. So, where were you at in the story?
I mean, I was kind of wrapping up. I mean, a lot of blood loss, but eventually it all came together. They kept telling me to go to sleep, which I refused because, I just wanted to experience the last few minutes of my life. I asked Chris to show me the cat on the camera in a feeder so that I could see my son for one last time.
Brilliant stuff. My plan was, if Marketa wasn't going to make it, is that I was going to move to Miami for the winter because, you can't really I've had a super depressing 2024 and a really uplifting 2024. 2024 is a paradox of a year, but I couldn't, have something as terrible as that happen and then have to deal with a good old-fashioned Midwestern winter. So that was the plan.
You think you'd be able to be a single daddy?
Yes, but I'm going to also point to my entire support system around me. Barely be a single dad.
I mean, I think that when people say it takes a village, it really fucking does.
No, 100%. Look, for all y'all tradwives out there that can, thug it out on your own, good for you. That's why there's only 20 of you on TikTok.
That's a lie.
And why that's not the norm. I got a family unit that is pretty damn strong and also very excited to have a baby and very excited to help out. There was no way, this was it would have been very, 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 very hard. The mental struggle would have been there, but yeah, I'm just saying if I was going to pick a family to do it with, it's this one. I think we would have been good.
I will say that you were a single daddy for the first 2 weeks though.
Yeah, that was
because easy. First of all, we had to stay in the hospital for 4 days, which is way longer than people usually do in America.
Bum, bum, bum.
But after we got home, I was sent with the amount of meds to manage that I was incapable of. Because my brain was deprived of blood and oxygen.
And sleep. Don't forget sleep.
I felt very... I mean, I know it's not that I was stupid because I couldn't manage my meds, but, I just literally, my brain was just so foggy that I couldn't. So I had to download this app to help me manage my medication. They sent me home with 10 different meds on 10 different schedules. Some was 8 hours, every 8 hours, some was every 6 hours, some was once a day in the morning, somewhere twice a day.
It's pretty funny. And they didn't give I felt they just wrote down the instructions and I was like, damn, I was reading it and I was like, I don't know. I was like, get an app. There's no way I can't keep up with this.
Yeah. So that was bad. 1, brain fog. 2, this is all because of the extreme anemia I was having. So that, and then also I was just constantly sleepy, tired, low energy. You would see when I was they warned Chris that I could possibly faint if I was too tired. And some of the warning signs would be my skin would literally be white and my lips blue. And that's when I needed to really sit down and make sure that I'm good.
A lot of meat, a lot of meat. Luckily, we had food trains though. And we had a lot of people helping us out, which I super appreciate. Which made me feel bad for my other friends that had kids because I didn't know, And I would just like, for, I don't know, just struggling. There's all the extra shit to do that you don't think about. It's kind of like, imagine your full day, add an extra day to it, like in your own days. Like, yeah, you're going to do all that, but also you have to do all this other stuff too. And the baby eats every 3 hours. And that takes
That was 2 to
every,
3.
yeah, oh yeah, a lot of cluster feedings every 2 hours sometimes. And there's no real way to like put that off or not do it. And you kind of got to stop
No, you
everything
have
to do it.
Baby's tummy is like this big when they're born, and that is how much they can take. So you have to feed them every 2 hours. So yeah, it was a struggle, and
We figured out a
did
good
it.
sleeping situation. I think it's
Well, I want to say that had I been able to breastfeed, if I didn't lose so much blood, then I would. It would have to be on. It's usually, if you choose to breastfeed, then it's on a woman to just wake up every 2 hours to feed the baby, but also, at every one of those instances, you also like check the diaper, change the diaper, feed her, try to get her back to sleep, and then you sleep when the baby sleeps.
you
And
sleep
they
when the
make it
baby sleeps.
and they make it sound like that is the magic, like that's the magic wand that makes this all like okay, but it's not. Like I cannot imagine having to do that. I tried because I really wanted to breastfeed. So I tried to, do the steps that the lactation consultant at the hospital gave me, but it just wasn't gonna happen for me, and that's okay. But like looking back, and like knowing that, so many of my friends that have kids have done this, I'm like, how did you do it? I know I was going through my own struggle,
Yeah.
but and comparison is a thief of joy. But I'm just a person, so I do it all the time.
Quit thieving your own joy.
But yeah, and then imagine that some people in America, nowhere else, will get 2 weeks unpaid or 6 weeks unpaid, whatever, however many
There's
fucking
probably
weeks.
plenty of countries that just don't have it at all. But
Ins-
you mean for America being,
Who?
there's countries in the global south.
Okay, yes.
You
This
say
is-
anywhere.
this is a
The
developed-
world isn't just
This is
Europe and America.
This is the richest country in the world.
There we go.
The most developed country in
There
the
we
world,
go.
with the best healthcare system in
There
the
we
world.
go.
And excuse me, but what the fuck is wrong with you that you would give women 6 weeks unpaid to deal with this shit?
It's the economy, stupid. Obviously. You can have babies, but what about the economy? I need you back at work. You see, if all women got 6 months, then our country would be a go-nowhere country like Denmark.
Dear God.
You want to live like Denmark? Is that what
Yes!
you want? You want public transportation? Yeah, socialist bastard. How dare you?
Oh my
But
God.
that first, like, a few weeks of being at home and trying to get into the swing of things was hard. Figuring out sleeping sucked because obviously we usually sleep together. But so then we were doing sleeping. Someone would sleep on the couch and someone would sleep upstairs. If you're on the couch, you have the baby. You have the baby for 6 hours and then you switch with the person upstairs, which worked out so that someone was always getting sleep
6
at
hours.
least.
Yeah.
We've been trying recently to all be in the same room, which I'm going to keep on trying, but I totally hate it. I think it sucks.
But we're together.
We are indeed together, but at what cost? I'll give you the answer.
then we
The
can
cost is a full night of sleep. No, it's a sacrifice that I want to make. I want to be together, but I'd also like to be together and to get to sleep. I'm just asking for a lot. You know why? So I'm an American, goddammit. And I think that I deserve to have it all.
Oh, absolutely you do. You do. We all do. Yeah.
But, so anyway, we're sacrificing sleep now. And we're all in the same room. She's got to get up every 3. And recently, she's been doing this cool little thing where she's like, I think I'm just going to scream. That's it. I'm just going to, what if I just scream? And you just kind of got to deal with it. And that's fine when you're the person upstairs and the person downstairs have the baby. But when you're all in the same room, it might trigger you to wake up instantly. I've been waking up running, which has been really fun. My legs are moving, but I'm sideways. So you just kind of got to go with it. And this is where you get into the whole tiredness loop, which is, for me, that's a difficult part. I was an 8-hour boy before.
So
Now I'm running
overall,
6.
overall, how has one, being a birthing partner been, and then how has being a dad been?
Oh, they both have been great. I love them. They're new challenges. I think it's fun and exciting. I feel like a switch flipped in my brain and I became a dad when I saw this kid pretty instantly. There's a person you are before, there's a person you are after. And I know those emotions and all the dopamine and stuff was heightened and it tapers off after a while, but that feeling is different. And I do think that a lot of like those big moments in life can change your brain chemistry. So I'm here for it. I get it. I'm loving it. It's a great time. I'm always thinking about the fun stuff that we're going to have in the future. I love watching her grow up. All that. It's been 7 weeks. Grow up. She's barely grown up, except for she's grown up a ton.
She's doubled in size.
She's doubled in like length. She's down like 14 pounds already. That'd be crazy. But she is much longer and bigger. It's crazy.
Very long.
So,
She has a big head.
she
like a
gets that from
bobblehead.
you. So, yeah, no, I love it. What about you? Being a mom and a birther?
Oh, so because of what happened, I don't think I'm gonna do that again.
But we're still 50-50, right?
I'm also already geriatric, and I also really don't want to deal with giving birth in this country anymore, even though my hospital and my doctors are, you know, the absolute best. They saved my life. I wouldn't trust anybody else. But unfortunately, we are in a red state, and I can't do this to myself anymore.
Yeah.
Thinking about getting an IUD. Just so that I don't have to deal with this for the next 10 years?
What? Hold on. I would just get a vasectomy. Why would you get an IUD?
Just in case.
Just in case. What the hell?
I don't want to be pregnant anymore.
Yeah. We only need one of them. What's the point in doubling it up? What are we trying to protect from? Godzilla jizz? I don't fucking come that
Yes.
big. No. What?
I'm scared.
That seems like a lot.
Well, also, I don't want to have periods.
Okay, well then that kind of answers the question. I'm not going to have a surgery if I don't have to have one. Why would I do that?
Because then I'm going to have to put another one in 10 years.
Oh my God, 10 years. Woo, I'll be blowing dust in 10 years.
See, this is what the problem is.
No, it's not. It doesn't make any sense. If in 10 years you don't want to get one, then I'll get a vasectomy.
I'm just going to say that if men had cervix and something were to be inserted in there so they could not have babies,
Yes.
it would be considered a surgery too.
That's,
But because it's for women, it's just like, oh, just shove it in there. Just put it right in the cervix. No anesthetic. You could just walk it up.
all right, are you really thinking about getting an IUD?
Probably.
IUD?
IUD.
IUD. IEDs. Improvised explosive device. IUD.
Hopefully I'm not going to put that in my vagina.
Snook. No, all right. So yeah, if you're gonna do that though, it wouldn't make sense, right? A surgery is a certain, okay, sure. There's no sense in both of us being overly cautious. There's a right amount of cautious to be,
Okay.
right? Because like even condoms work 99.9% of the time. It'd be like using one condom and also another thing of birth control. I know that you've got your multiple reasons why you use multiple birth controls, but I'm just saying if you're using 2 birth controls and they're both 99% effective, cut one of them out, obviously. Unless you're using another birth control to prevent against STDs and STIs, that's different. But it's not the case for us, so you get what I'm saying. I'm giving you information here. Also,
All
just
right.
go get checked out. Just go do it. It's fun. They can do it really easy now. They got a finger prick for AIDS. You'll learn instantly. You wait 15 minutes, you find out if you got it or not. It's great.
All right. Well, so overall, I would say being a birthing person for me, definitely like 2 out of 10. Would not recommend it. Will not do it again. But I also do find a lot of satisfaction in being a mom. It really sucks that the way to get there includes risking your own life. I really
Sometimes.
would like to
I think if we were, well, not sometimes, I mean, all
not
the
have
time.
to do that again.
If we were younger, I think it'd be different, though.
Yeah, but we're not.
So then I guess, all right, we were going to talk. Did this podcast, maybe it's got about 15 more minutes left. We were going to talk about the election a little bit, but since we're talking about family and shit, since we're talking about IUDs, my bad, improvised uterus devices, I have a question. If we were going to adopt, what would be the way to go about this?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but
No. I mean, what kind of baby we picking? Cambodian? We going white, Vietnamese, black? Which kind of black? We talking
Well, you know
African?
how-
We talking African American? We talking British African? We talking about Caribbean? Ukrainian?
Are you done?
Finish.
Oh my god.
What about Norwegian Korean? We'll adopt a little Eleanor. I'm just, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about this recently because I was like, oh, everybody's like, yeah, you can always adopt. And I was like, that's true. Super expensive. Don't know if we could. But also I was like, damn, like, how do you, I don't know. Like, there's a preference when we went to go pick our cat. We kind of knew-ish what kind of cat we want. Some people know what kind of dogs they want, right? Well, I know no, not really. We just kind of rolled the dice. Yeah, I feel like picking the color of your baby feels weird. That feels, it's a conversation to have.
And it's icky.
Right? It feels, and I'm not saying.
I don't know why I would even, okay, this is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I would literally treat it the same way as I treated our cat. Because I went into the shelter to get an 18-year-old black cat that was literally on its deathbed, but it was like in a shelter. So I wanted to give it a good life. So I'm literally going to pick the basket case of a kid.
Oh my God. That's like playing life on the
home.
Okay. I guess. I get what you're saying.
Because, I mean,
but you're not even picking a basket case of a kid. I assume if we're adopting, we would be getting a baby, or you want to get a, 3-year-old?
Everybody wants a baby.
Do they really?
Yes.
Babies are... Okay, fine. I guess, yeah,
so,
sure.
So,
because they have personalities.
Child,
okay,
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
okay,
so whichever child is, in what are they called?
Foster homes?
Foster homes or...
No, adoption houses. Orphanariums?
Orphanage.
That's what I said.
No, you didn't.
What did I say?
I don't want to repeat it.
Orphanarium? It's like an aquarium, but for orphans.
I feel like I just saw like a hamster wheel with like a child in it and it's like running around.
That's how they keep the lights on at the orphanarium.
Stop.
So yeah, we would go to orphanage. We'd find the kid who's least likely to get adopted, and we'd adopt that kid. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I thought we would do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it matters what they look like.
No, but I was just kind of thinking of because anything else that costs a lot of money, that is very important to the way that your life goes, all of that thing, you and I mean all humans, we pick it out off of aesthetics, right? So that's I'm just giving you a one-to-one purchase in my life. We're gonna get a car, yeah, cool. What color car? What kind of car? What kind of make of car? Like, you think about all those things, right?
No,
and then
I'm thinking about the price of the car.
You do car shopping, and then you look around for what kind of car you want, right?
I want a deal.
You want a deal? Fair enough. All right, but I think for me, if I'm picking, I'm like, oh no, I'm kind of...
having seat warmers is nice, but that would be my second after price. And color is
And this isn't me saying that I have a preference
of
of color of kid that I want. I'm saying that when I first thought about adopting, I thought about it like all the other things I purchased.
I feel like this conversation is one of the reasons we shouldn't adopt.
No. We probably should.
They're gonna see it at the adoption center and be like, denied.
No, our Cambodian baby will be so excited to be a part of the household. I'm saying that just for anything else that you get in life, I don't care what it is, but you just used to buying things. I know we're not buying a human, but we kind of buying a human. That feels fucked up. We're not doing it for slavery reasons. We're doing it for altruistic, giving more health into the world reasons, being a good ancestor.
Worse and worse.
No, it's not. Listen, just let me get to the point that I'm trying to get at.
Oh my God.
The point that I'm trying to get at is that if you were going to adopt, all right, and it's your first time acquiring a human, you need to do it in an ethical way. But I feel like most people acquire humans that look like them. And the thing for us is...
and I think it makes life easier. People are going to ask dumbass questions.
Yeah.
Strangers constantly in face of your baby. I understand. But I just don't see how it's the first thing that you decide on.
No, you want a healthy baby, and then you work backwards from there. All the eyes, ears, and hands, ideally. But I guess now we're discriminating against babies with 2 hands. Fine, I'll take a no-hand baby. What I was getting to is this, because I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
So do we just go for the perfect mix of check and black again for our future baby?
That would take a lot of looking.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, then we'll just get a regular baby.
Okay.
A regular baby. What color's a regular baby?
All babies are regular.
There you go. Correct answer. Anybody here in the comments who said that they had a preference for regular baby, you fucked up. What's wrong with you? All babies is regular babies.
Regular sized Rudy.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's all. I was just thinking about that. And now you're thinking about it.
Since we're already talking about this, How do you feel about your baby being white?
Well, my baby's not white due to the one drop rule. I have a black baby. So how do you feel about your baby being black?
Honestly, I was kind of pissed because our baby.
I just asked. I want to point out that I asked you, how do you feel about your baby being black? And you said, honestly, I was kind of pissed.
No, not about that. No, first of all, if you look at my baby girl, she is beautiful. She's gorgeous. She looks like Chris, like all this like forehead, these eyebrows, these eyes, this nose, especially. That's Chris. Maybe the lips are mine.
Because she's gonna be great at talking shit like you.
Probably not either. But she's white. Her skin, if you put her next to me, she's even whiter than me.
Uh-oh. You say that, but I don't know when's the last time you looked. So I was looking at her today. She's looking kind of yellowish. She's getting there. She's getting some color. No, but she's going to have beautiful hair like you.
But
and her mouth's
the
gonna
reason
talk
why
shit
I
like
said,
you.
honestly, I was kind of pissed.
Yeah.
Is because you see this white baby next to her white mom, and then on the whatever paperwork we have to fill out in the hospital.
No, yeah.
I put in like the race, ethnicity.
Yeah.
I put white and African American.
Yep.
Both of them. And I was like, I don't honestly know what to do here because,
Yeah.
you know, I understand that technically.
For all the black folks listening, they're like, oh, we already know what happened. You ain't got to finish. But continue, please.
Technically, she's African American, but she's also white. So I just like put both of them there, and I'm like, okay. And it's just like, I just gave it to them. And it was like, just figure it out. I don't know. And then they returned it back to me, and like on her birth certificate, right?
Yeah. Or not birth certificate, on the paperwork for her.
Yeah, like a hospital profile.
Yeah.
They classified her as like African American. They didn't even ask.
Said you can't be white and black. You have to be.
You can't be white.
One or the other. And look at the dad. She's clearly black. Just fucked up.
That's fucked up.
Our baby totally gets to be both. All right, because that's how it works. You know, intersectionality. Get it together. But yeah, no, they're like, that's not happening.
It's just like, I don't know. I mean, she's a little baby. But like, I want her to be able to like self-identify. You know.
Yeah.
I guess that's out of the table.
I do too, but I would be super upset. Okay, not super upset. I wouldn't be super upset. I would be a little let down if she chose to self-identify as white. For the reason that she could self-identify as Czech,
yes.
which I think is interesting,
yes.
and we can get into the backgrounds of that. She could self-identify as African American.
Yes.
And it's interesting. We can get into all of that too. And through that overlap, she can also find plenty of white, and by white, I mean American things. And by American, I mean white American. Obviously, you guys know what the fuck I'm talking about. Keep up. She can find plenty of things to get into there. I'm talking NASCAR. All right. I'm talking rally cars. I'm talking backyard wrestling. I'm talking moonshining. There are interesting parts of white culture that she could get into. Okay. But I think that if she just self-identified as white, it would be like the other way around. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think that she's got more interesting options.
There's none of that in our family, so I don't know how she would even identify. But anyway,
because
it's
her.
Like it's her. The problem is, the thing that I'm trying to say is that it's her choice, right?
Yeah.
And like the fact that they just in the hospital were straight up like black.
Not at all.
Like there was not even a discussion. It was just I was just kind of like not that there's anything wrong with her being black, but like
just write you off. Yeah. I think it's because for me, like, and this is like my long-term weird thoughts, but like look at the world, right? There are people in Japan and South Korea that make their skin whiter. There's people in Africa that make their skin whiter because white is like this, white as in American white is like
India,
this.
Yeah, they had the makeup with the bleach.
Yeah. It's like this predominant global culture that seems like it's like the super hype and everybody wants to be it, right? Like America's the cool kids on campus and everybody wants to be a part of that. But there's still all of these other facets of being American, like being African American, that I think can be more interesting, fun to dive into, and you still get the other stuff too. But by turning her back, potentially in the future, on her Czech side or fully her black side, and just focusing on the white part would mean that, like, oh, like
there's no white part.
I mean, she's technically white and born in America. It's confusing.
She black.
She is.
According to the professionals.
According to her grandma up there.
Yeah, whatever.
According to your parents, she's a hamster. Anyway, those are the things I was thinking about.
Yeah.
But that's like deep wild off So, winding up towards the end of this podcast, I will say this.
Yes.
We have 2 other podcasts, more recently topical things on deck. I was going to explain Y2K to Marketa because she still doesn't know what that is, which is kind of funny. And for a lot of you listening,
I just thought it was like year 2000.
she doesn't even know. But you guys, that'll be a fun one, I think. But that'll be one of those cultural ones where maybe I explain you Y2K and you can tell me about defenestration or something. Something, I don't know, and then we can do a little cultural exchange.
I don't know. I don't know. We should be giving people ideas right now.
I mean, who knows? And then obviously, kind of talking about this election and how we feel about it moving forward. There's some interesting stuff to be talked about, but this is it. This is our first one back. If we record a few like preemptively, maybe we can get these onto a regular schedule. And if there's any topics that you guys want to hear us talk about, drop that down below.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about a lot of stuff here.
Yeah. I do feel 50-50 about a podcast about election because I feel like everybody's talking about the election. And honestly, if you guys are tired of this topic and don't really want this here, do let us know because we definitely don't have to talk about it.
And on that same topic, instead of it just being, this is how I feel about the election, what I want it to be is goal-orientated, solution-orientated. This is what I'm going to be doing moving forward. This is how I view it, and this is how I view my role in American society moving forward, and this is what I plan on doing. I think a lot of people are getting into like the worst case scenarios or like a lot of doom and gloom, and while that all is totally warranted because of the things that the person who's about to become the president has said, let's look at the shit that he's done and let's plan on what we're going to do, and let's just kind of...
Are we already talking about it?
No. I'm just giving like my rundown for what I think the podcast should be about. And so that is the plan for that podcast, at least. You're editing this one.
Sure.
All right.
Problem.
What do you want to say to sign off or get ready to wrap up?
Being mom is great and rewarding, but once again, wouldn't recommend it in America. I could have had 2 years maternity paid.
Being dad, super fun, super rewarding, and what I would like from both of us moving forward is to try to do more hard shit. I'm gonna try to run a marathon. I know I didn't do anything for this pregnancy, but I stayed up late. And I haven't been sleeping very much. I don't know. I'm trying. Right? I'm outside of my comfort zone, and I think because of this, I would like to try it more often, and I will try to use these lessons to teach my kid to be better than I was.
I think that you have done great. You have done an amazing job.
Oh, thank you.
Not an adequate job. And I really hope that more men are out there that do the things that you do, because having a baby is rough. It is very, very rewarding, but it is very hard, and I don't think that women should be carrying that burden alone.
Hey, the baby's not a burden for them to carry. I know what you meant. I'm just joking.
They are definitely a burden sometimes.
I will say this before we wrap up too. The amount of nurses commending me on doing the very bare minimum. I changed a diaper, and the nurses were like, "Oh my god, I wish the rest of the dads could be like this." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
That is why I'm mentioning it.
That's crazy.
That is literally why I'm mentioning it, because that made me think that, what the fuck are men doing? Are they even here?
Maybe
I could easily imagine a lot of women just giving birth on their own, which to me is terrifying.
Maybe I'm doing too much.
Okay, don't get ahead of yourself.
I've been listening.
Adequate.
Been listening to Andrew
Don't get
Tate.
ahead of yourself.
Andrew Tate says that a man shouldn't have to
All
look
right,
at
bye. Okay, bye.
Oh, we gotta press the button. You ready? Do you remember the song?
No.
Oh.
First time caller, long time listener.
Thanks for all the
cake.
Thanks for all the cake is where I fuck up every time. I forget that it's there.
You're listening to Cake. Chris and Ketty experience.
Hell yeah.
Bye.